This is Simon transparently awakening the heart of humanity as we see beyond the lies and open our eyes to realize
This is our time to rise.
Welcome everybody to another Simon Transparently. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in with us and wherever you are in the world, listening, whether you're in your car, maybe you're on a tube, maybe traveling, wherever you're hearing this podcast today, we want to send you our love. And today I'm with a beautiful friend called Aurika. I like to call her Audacious, Queen Audacious, because that is her naked ears name. That I think I gave, did I give you that name?
One of the people gave me, actually. I didn't even know what the word meant back then, but I said, okay, I trust the flow.
Yeah, because you didn't create a name, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, cool. So this is Aurika. I say that right? I probably say it wrong.
It's okay, Aurika.
Aurika, yes. And we came together because Aurika was actually introduced to us for a beautiful friend, and then she came to work with us for a while, or I would like to say more co-create, to play, to bring her skills. At the time, she was very much into PR and marketing. You were working as PR and advertising. She was working in advertiser, and we needed some skills. And our friend said, "Hey, you should meet Aurika." And she was sort of in transition of like working in a job, not really necessarily fully liking it, and she wanted to come out. And then she met Dara and I, and then everything else is history, which you may find a little bit about that in today's podcast. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Sai.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been 3 years of journeying together and full-on living together for probably at least 1 full year.
Right.
If we add all the experiences together, all the houses we shared, all the airports we crossed.
A big adventure.
Yeah,
You've seen me probably more than many people have seen me.
probably apart from Dara.
Yes, exactly. You've seen me
Yeah.
in all my good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, I think recently we had this conversation where we spoke that we sort of say that, oh, we know each other, but most of the people that we call friends, we don't really know them as they are. How do they look in the morning being grumpy? What happens when they need to have a coffee enema and all of that? But
Right.
I think us, like I've really seen you like in your whole full spectrum. And now I can say when I say I love you, I know that I love each facet of you.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And as you said that, and we know each other in all of our little, triggers and ups and downs. And then I just had this vision of you yesterday, and I felt so touched where you was in a little bit of a rush, and you left the house, and you had to go and get you a bike. And normally you park your bike somewhere else, and you went on to get your bike.
It wasn't there.
You brought it. It was somewhere else because you parked it at home, at our house, and then you came back and you was like, and I was like, oh baby, so sorry that you did that. And you was like, and now I'm in a rush and it's longer to get there. And I was like, this is how we live,
This
right?
is the real stuff.
This is
Yeah.
the real stuff, and then how we adapt to that. And I think I said to you, I don't know what I said. This is where meditation helps, or something like that.
Actually, I didn't hear what you said, but I knew you were gonna say meditate more. I just knew that.
Amazing. Oh man, that's my saying. So yeah, so this is I'm really happy we get to sit next to each other and share this conversation, because I'm doing conversations online as well. And yeah, I think your story is one worth bringing to the world, and for many reasons. One, because when I met you, you was in a huge transition. You're curious, and you was definitely wanting more. And at the same time, there was a part of you that probably was keeping yourself slightly small and not fully knowing who you are in your greatness, or what you want to bring to the world, or and so I've had the pleasure of witnessing that, and I get tingles as I'm saying that, right, through my whole body, right, is that I've got the great blessing of witnessing someone I love go through this transformation. And for anybody listening, if you've had that experience, you know exactly what I'm saying. When you really get to see somebody you love transform, not because you've done that, because you've witnessed them in their different stages of transformation. And I know you're still transforming, but still, So I'd love you to start off with today, just sharing maybe a little bit of your backstory, and then we'll bring you into the magical work that you're doing today.
Yeah. Yes, I can share maybe where I was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, beautiful. That'd be lovely.
I was changing jobs every 3 months because I had such a strong impulse for freedom. It's like, this is not the right thing. My soul will not compromise, so change again, change again. It was a little bit better than the previous job. It was still same crap story. because I didn't have any role models of people who have made it to the other side. So I was working at the same time at a corporation, at a bank, and then going to rainbow gatherings and dancing naked by the fire. So I was thinking this is harmony. And my soul was deeply torn apart because I just didn't know that I can do it. I felt that I am not creative. That was one of the most limiting beliefs I uncovered at the beginning. I was thinking I'm only good at doing the tasks that someone else gave me because I'm just no good for that, you know, to create something new. I didn't trust that I have any gifts at all. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was going through massive insomnia, 1.5 years of not sleeping, and everything was just going down the spiral. And I was looking for something intense. Like my soul was longing something that would give that glimpse of eternal divinity and something that would last, and nothing lasted. So I was going on Tinder dates, I was maybe enjoying substances, I was going on travel, and everything would finish the next morning. I was doing quick fix clitoral masturbation every single night to put myself to sleep. So all the things would give me like a rush of love, a little bit. And afterwards, I would just feel more depleted, more lonely, and more miserable. So I was just so stuck in the cycle, and I really had no clue where to go until I just had to fully collapse. Like there was just nothing left, and I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna leave. And so I ended up going to Bali. And what happened? I find myself in Canggu, living next to the ocean, with rice fields and sunsets in front of me, thinking, you know what? I feel the same. Nothing has changed.
I knew you was going to say that.
Like,
No, it's changed. What's going
why?
on?
I am paradise.
Yeah.
So I just brought the trash can that was my emotions, my limiting beliefs, and all of that. I just carried it all with me across the globe. I realized, Bali does not solve the problem.
Right. Which is
Yeah.
a great insight. I mean, a great insight. It might be a simple insight, and maybe people have heard this many times before, but actually, this is one of the greatest wisdoms, right? Most people think, oh, if I go get this, get that, go there, be on the beach, and everything's going to just solve itself, right? And that's still in our society today. The fabric of many people feel that still, right?
Yeah.
And I guess on some level, we have to go part of that hero's journey. We have to go and actually experience that, because some don't even go to experience it. Some stay in their cage and still think, no, definitely those in the beach are having a better time than me, and so
Yeah.
on. But you actually broke out of your comfort zone to go to the places, and then got the real realization, the direct experience that no, there's still something not
Yeah.
clear, not free.
Yeah. I tried to fix all of my outside. I did everything I could, and still didn't work.
Yeah. And you were doing some inside, because you was also doing some inside.
No, I
right?
was,
Yeah, because I
but
just
it was
want to say
still-
to the listeners, you know, you was experiencing meditation. You was
Yes.
looking at these different things. You was reading, and you were
No, I
really-
was already a yoga teacher back then and everything,
Exactly.
but I never went fully
Mm-hmm.
down none of the paths.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
didn't fully commit to either one of the paths.
No.
Like you dabbled in
Because
yoga.
it still wasn't the thing,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Even yoga, I felt I was living like in a city ashram in Spain, teaching yoga and then praying and cleaning and cooking and teaching.
Right.
I was like, my soul does not feel enlivened.
Right.
Like I am in service, but my body is still like not communicating to me. There's still that piece in the puzzle missing,
Right.
and that was my yoni.
Nice.
Literally.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so for anybody listening, if you don't know the term yoni is really the Sanskrit word for vagina, right?
For sacred
For
space.
the sacred space, right? And we're gonna definitely come to that, because we want to talk about sexuality today, because it's both of our passion. But before we dive into that, I want to just bring in, because I know many people in the world experience insomnia, and I know that you really did struggle with that, and I just
Yeah.
want to bring a little bit of awareness to that, because that was really, really challenging for you. And when I
Yeah.
met you, I know some nights you would just, how many hours were you sleeping some
So
nights?
I would fall asleep quite easily.
Yeah.
So all of the chamomile teas and everything would work because the effect was away soon. And I would just keep waking up like very, very often, multiple times and for long periods of time.
Right. So some nights you might get 3-4 hours
Yeah.
sleep, right? On
Yeah.
and off.
And then just lots of coffee in the day.
and lots of coffee in a day, you know, and that was really wiping your system out.
Totally.
And actually, we're talking how many years really with that? Because it's only been the
1.5
last
years fully.
1 year and a half.
And
fully.
afterwards, on and off.
On and
I was
off.
still traveling with sleeping pills just in case, just to
Exactly.
calm down my nervous system.
Exactly. So you had that going
Yeah.
on. And, you know, again, we know that sleep, water and sleep, two of the main things that we really need to just for our body to replenish. And you was, you know, so you was really in quite a, in terms of polyvagal, you were in the amber red zone
Very
a lot,
much.
right? In terms of the polyvagal theory. And if anybody doesn't know that term, the fight, flight, or freeze, you know, you were in that, you know, in those
Yeah.
states a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Yeah.
And you were meditating and you were really doing the work on that and exploring that and researching and finding different solutions.
I mean, I was still doing the mainstream solutions.
Right.
You know, like, yes, I was reading books, watching the right videos, and meditating here and there,
Yeah.
doing therapy,
Yeah.
but nothing really fully. And I think that was the key word. It's commitment.
Yes.
Right now, it's my favorite word, and that's the word that actually brought me the resolution to many, many things I was looking for answers.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And even when I met you, it's kind of funny you say that now, because when I met you as well, as you said, nearly 3 years ago, I did feel a sense of commitment from you as well. I mean, definitely towards us, definitely towards the work you were doing. You know, I always felt you were super committed, you know, super dedicated. I mean, again, you know, not just to commend Aurika, but even now, she's like I don't want to say a workhorse because it's like
warrior.
She's a warrioress, exactly. She's on it, she's focused, she gets stuff done. And that really helped Dara and I elevate as well ourselves, because we really needed somebody to help us at that level. And I just want to acknowledge you on this, and for everyone listening, we did a tour, a 6-week tour around Europe called Radical Intimacy with another beautiful being called Karina, who was our team at the time, Aurika, Karina, Dara, and I, and beautiful Eric, who's behind the camera. We went on a bit of a mission for 6 weeks, 6 cities on a quite an
6 countries, not just cities.
6 countries, 6 weeks. We had a whole plan. Aurika just jumped in there, made it happen, pulled it together. I mean, it either almost killed us or brought us together. I think we definitely know that we won't do it like that again.
No.
But at the same time, I think we all grew through that, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that made that happen was your commitment, actually. That was one of the main things that made it happen. So I just want to acknowledge you there. But I know now you're talking more of even then when you were with us, and I've got tingles as I'm saying this, you were committed to this, you committed to love, the vision we had, but there was still something inside of you. And I've got to bring this up because me and Dara say this every time we mention you, is when we met Aurika and we asked her,
this is the embarrassing piece, but okay, I can hold that.
You can hold it. Because it's so beautiful what you said the other day as well, as how that links into ropes now, right? So anyway, we met her, and we always ask people, if you want to come and hang with us, what's your dream, what's your vision, what's your greater, you know, and Aurika said, well, I really love knitting. And I really see myself being a knitter or whatever, if there's a term knitter, and doing knitting, and and other than that, I really love to just, you know, help people and so on. And there was such a innocence and a purity in that. And then, of course, fast forward 3 years, and this is where we can dive in now. And Aurika is really, you know, gone on a deep journey into her own sexuality, uncovered much of her shadows, much of her challenges, emotional blockages, and now supports people, well, let's say more, well, I'm going to say man and woman, but your focus, let's say, is around femininity and sexuality for the woman, right?
Yeah.
And when I say woman, I'm also talking about those who identify as women, right?
Yeah.
You're there to support them. But you have also been supporting those who identify as man and giving man support on how they can really understand woman better.
Absolutely.
So maybe you want to talk a bit about that and how it went from the vision of knitting to the vision of empowering sexuality.
Just one little
Yes, please.
remark on that about the knitting. Like last week, I attended a 2-day shibari workshop, which is a long story short,
amazing ropage.
Exactly. And I realized that actually, for the first time, my knitting experience and skills are actually serving on my current path of exploring my edges, my boundaries, my sexuality, and my deep trance states.
Exactly.
So everything comes together.
Yes, and isn't that, and I love that because that's how I always see. Sometimes we have an experience in life, we're like, oh, why am I doing this? And then, you know, 5, 7, 8, 10 years later, we're like, wow, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't, you know.
Totally.
So cool. So, okay, so why don't you dive in and say, really, I'd love to hear what pulled you into that sexuality, that exploration through yourself, and then the big realization, because I know that you're so in tune with the greater, I'm just going to say, sexual violence and the real abuse that we've had to endure, man and woman, around our sexuality.
Yeah. Thank you.
Does that feel cool?
Yeah. So I do have quite a fun backstory.
Please.
So I was, as I said, I found myself living by the sea in paradise. Nothing was working again. And there I was still, like, my old habits were becoming really, really emphasized. And my habit to do quick fix clitoral masturbation was just like bugging me. Like, I felt there's something more to this and something I'm not experiencing, something I'm actually losing out on, right? So I decided to go celibate for a month. I didn't have a partner, so that meant celibate for myself, not touching my genitals for 1 month. And what happened is that I started feeling this ball of energy in my lower belly, and it felt like really like a physical stagnation. For the first time, I felt my sexual energy building up, not moving, and that created like a physical discomfort. And it was deeply annoying, actually. It's like, what the fuck is happening to my body? And just because, even through, it was like a quick fix clitoral stimulation, like I was still moving a little bit of energy, and then it just shut down completely, and it was creating me pain. And then I was lucky enough to do the naked retreat with you guys.
Right.
And there I came across Taoist practices, especially the microcosmic orbit. And that was my most important practice. And you mentioned my commitment, it's true. And then I did microcosmic orbit for every single day for like 3-4 months. And I did training with Mantak Chi a few months later.
Exactly.
The Taoist master.
Yes.
So there, actually, without really doing any like direct genital sexual work, just through breath work, I managed to move the energy. And it may have sounded some airy-fairy thing in the past, but then I started feeling the energy as a physical sensation in my body. And then I started using a yoni egg, and then, wow, this is weird, I don't feel a thing, what is this? But I trust that there's something there. And very soon my life started to realign itself. And that was the single thing that created most trust, that the inner work pays off. And you love saying playing with the invisible. And I was playing with the visible, trusting that. And very soon, the reality is saying, you're on the right path. And what happens? 1 month after I started doing all of these practices, I made love to a man who bowed to my yoni after making love. And I thought, I think my life will never be the same again.
Right. Yeah, I got tingles.
Yeah,
when you
me
say
too.
that. Yeah.
Because we as women, we have such a strong tendency to just compromise, to go for the second best, because we are love. We are the embodiment of love, being in the feminine.
Right.
And of course, the world is not fully conducive to this uncensored experience, uncensored flow of love, given, receive, exchange, and all of that. So we have to armor ourselves and it's safe. So we just go for what we can get. And then, tingles again. Then we go for mediocre lovers, we go for Tinder dates, we go for men who don't fully honor us because we don't honor ourselves in the first place. So this experience was such a big pivotal moment in my life, saying, enough, no more.
Beautiful. You haven't shared that. You didn't share that first part with me before. It's so beautiful to hear. Yeah, because and what I'm taking from that as I'm listening to you, and I really want to emphasize this for everyone listening, you beautiful beings who are listening to us today, whoever you are, is just that real notice what happened. The awareness of honoring myself to find out what's going on inside, to stop what was happening. There was a pause. Right? This is really powerful. This is what I'm taking from this. It's very powerful. When we just stop for a moment. Right? It's not working. Okay, we don't know what is or not working, but something's not working right. Let me stop. And in that month of stopping, boom, a realization came. Then, of course, the next thing unfolded to show something else. And it's like, there's that connection. You had the capacity to have that wisdom to see the connection. And then through that honoring, the next lover that you actually bring in bows down and honors you as a, divine being through, again, which I now and you call, the sacred center, right? And that's just so profoundly beautiful to have that physical realization. I know that if anything, I know that was just the beginning, right? And you've continued. So please continue. What unfolded from there? So you knew it would never be the same again. This happened, and then boom.
Yeah, and I think that my no bullshit strategy or policy was just switched on, and of course, it took some intuitive capacity training and everything. It didn't happen overnight, but then like I could just I could sense much more quickly, is this person aligned with my true essence or not? And that's not just lovers, just people in general. So slowly but surely, like people started filtering themselves in my surroundings. And it was painful. I had to let go of some old friendships. So for example, some friends with whom I would meet to have a glass of wine or consume alcohol, this had to go away because I was no longer drinking alcohol, for example.
Right.
And my whole routine changed because I was very committed to my daily practice. It hurt like hell to sit up in the mornings like, I'm going to meditate. No, yes, no, maybe just 10 minutes, 5, no, half an hour, okay. It's just internal struggle that was just like right on my face every single morning. And I stayed with that. And then slowly withered away. And so I think a very committed morning practice at the very beginning was the thing that helped me to stay grounded and hold my totality. Even when things went rough, when I had maybe for the first time this bigger traumatic experiences that have to come up to the surface, they have to be purified, right?
Yep.
So I just had to hold it all and by myself.
Yes. Yeah. You did a lot by yourself.
I used to do 2-3 hour morning practice every single day.
Yeah. Well, you still have a long morning practice. Yeah. I know you're doing
Inspired
a lot more.
by you.
Yeah, I know you're doing a lot more work now and serving and so on. And maybe, but I still see your dedication. And I want to bring in there because I think one of the key things is it wasn't just about the static meditation. That was one, but then this connection to the yoni, the sexual center, and then that embodiment. And then we started the which you was key for as well. When I come out of the sexological bodywork, you was one of my beautiful bodies that allowed me to practice, and at the same time, we dived into the solo loving practice.
Totally.
Right, and that for me, that 21 days that we did, that was just boom. That was when we did it together. I mean, I'd done it before. Then when we did it together, I was like, for me, it was so profound to have you, Greta, Dara, Corinna sometimes.
Yeah.
And we were all just doing this practice, and of course sharing it with the world. And then it's saying, okay, so now morning practice isn't just about one or the other. It's like, how do I bring in the whole body, even if I'm not necessarily touching my sexual center, but I'm now including the wholeness of who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing this up. I actually keep forgetting to give enough credit to this experience of 21 days of decommitment with all of the people who live in the house.
Right. Yes. Amazing.
Because they really helped to raise the vibration when things got dense, right?
Yes.
And I think one thing I'd love to emphasize for people watching this talk is that sexuality should not be compartmentalized. It's just not orgasm. It's not just pleasure and this experience. It's not at all. And 21 days of self-pleasure, conscious self-pleasure, helped me realize that. Because all I have to do is just create safety in my body and in my physical space and time. Have 1 hour where whatever is going to happen, I commit to hold myself. Punto.
Yes.
Oh, feel energy moving as I say that.
Yes.
And there, everything is welcome. Maybe it's only 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week, but I meet all of my totality.
Yes.
And there, anger, jealousy, unprocessed trauma, maybe cervical orgasm, all of these things can come together. And simultaneously, I can have a deep orgasm and scream in anger at the same time.
Exactly.
And that's for me the beauty of sexuality. This is why I think we both say that this is perhaps the shortest path to discovering your truth, because then everything is in your face. You cannot just censor, right now I'm just going to choose a little bit of bliss, but I'm not going to choose my frustration. Doesn't work. You just have it all or nothing.
Yeah, and you have to feel it all.
Yeah.
Which is a great metaphor, because that's what it's about, right? We normally go here because we want to feel something, right? We go for the quick fix. From a man, it's like that one movement that I mention all the time. I always say this, and I will continue to repeat it, that the penis, the lingam, the cock, whatever you want to call it, is the most touched part of the body for those as a man body, in the least creative way, right? There's no touch, there's no massage, there's no sensuality, there's very rarely there's a just even holding and enjoying. There's very rarely massage in the surrounding areas, seeing how energy moves through the whole body. That's gone. Well, gone. I don't even know if it
never
some
happened.
ever
Yeah,
happened,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then what I loved in our 21 days as well, that initial one, was how it was. I was going to say it's sticky, but not necessarily sticky in the way you might think. I mean,
Also maybe that.
also that for sure. But I was thinking like it's very some days really challenging, and even when other people are in the room are also experiencing that, and you want to maybe be high and think, oh, this should all be pleasure, but actually no. Today I need to cry,
Yeah.
and today I need to scream, and today I need to like just hold myself
Yeah.
in an embrace
Yeah.
because right now I need to hold myself. I need to parent myself,
Mm-hmm.
and there's such a wide spectrum that opens through this journey.
Totally.
Right? It's
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
juicy. I'm tingling as I
Yeah,
say that.
fully.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Yeah. So from that potent self pleasure practice, I mean, that was definitely an inspiration for you. But then, because it wasn't at that moment, you were definitely serving us to serve others. You come
Yeah.
to the Naked Retreat.
Yeah.
You was definitely seeing the potency of that. You went to Mantak Cheers, you already mentioned.
Yeah.
You knew that there was something here.
Yeah.
But then you were like, okay, I need to actually start speaking my truth even more because you were practicing that with us, of course. And I want to go out there. And you started to really notice the pain and the suffering, the challenging of other women.
Yeah.
So does that feel right to like lead into there, or anything else that wants to bubble? But I just want to see how you went to like taking it from you and your experience to actually, I need to share this with the world.
Yeah. I realized that yes, there's a lot of fear, thinking, oh, I need to do another 5 courses. Remember that?
Yes.
Read another 5 books before I feel I have enough confidence just to step up and lead my own life in the way I desire. And at the same time, I thought it's selfish from my side to not share what I'm being through. And it doesn't have to be some grandiose vision. Maybe actually I just need to meet 3 women that would benefit just from this experience that I have.
Right.
So one moment, I remember this moment very well. We were living in our house in Gozo in Malta, and I was receiving a massage, and I was in such a deep, relaxed space, like this theta space where all the insights come, right? And I thought, I need to create a Facebook page and just see what happens there.
Yes.
Because I love writing. Writing is one of my main expressions. And I thought, I would just write what I think about the world. And there things started. Because once you take the first step, the universe will say, yes, I'll take the second one for you. So I took the first step, and then the universe took me actually 5 more for me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually I forgot about that moment because I remember how long that took you to put that page up. Do you remember? Because you're like, I'm going to do the page. Or you sort of started it, and then you're like, but I haven't written anything on there. There was a couple of weeks, it was like a good, I'm going to do that page. We're like, yeah, put that page together. And it was like, oh yeah. And I haven't written on there yet, but I'm going to come to it. I'm going to come to it. And then there's a few other things that happened. And then you started, yes.
It was a full-on going through my own conditioning.
Yes.
Because back then I started just sharing in Lithuanian. So all the things that we're speaking naturally about ejaculation, the cervix, the vagina,
Breast massage, everything.
all of these words in Lithuanian, they carried a very different charge for me. So I had to sit with my own conditioning and actually say, you know what? I'm letting these bullshit stories away because they don't serve me, they are not mine, and I'm choosing a new story.
Yes.
So I just simply had to do the back end work to make like a little inventory of my beliefs in order to step up in integrity.
Yes. Yeah. And also it was like, let's also talk about, because I know there may be other people listening to this that feel inspired to start whatever their creative vision is. Yeah. And I think that you've gone out there, really pioneered for yourself and just stepped out there. And I just want to highlight that this biggest taboo of our society, sexuality, right? That, we see it everywhere in the marketing world, and we're pummeled it constantly to sell us product, right?
Yeah.
But that isn't what we're talking about. That is
Absolutely
sexuality,
not.
right? This is like a surface flesh, using human to like sell something in such an illusionary way. We're talking about when we have to start speaking about these topics, we
have to define.
Right, and we're not only that, we actually trigger in others that deep wound and that taboo.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. I'm tingling again. It's not easy, especially for a woman, I'm going to say, even for man, just for any of us, to start speaking about that taboo that has been so suppressed, because then people either try to respond or attack, or like, who are you to talk about that? Because you're really stirring up the pot, right?
Yes.
And I know that I want you to say that, because even with maybe friends, even your family, and like really stepping out there. Because I know your mum fully supports you now, but at the beginning it was like, oh, can I
Yeah.
say some of this stuff? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Oh my God. Like for me, stepping up into my power and creating my current business was as deep as my sexual awakening journey. It goes in all the possible ways.
Yeah.
And there's many things I can say about this. But for example, one little story. I love my menstruation, you know that.
Exactly.
I love my blood. I celebrate my blood. I have beautiful menstrual cycle. I make friends with it, and it's actually pleasant right now.
Artwork, we explore
Yes.
with it, many things. Go on.
Yes. And right now, currently do my manifestation work only with my blood, just because, you know. And at the very beginning, I just painted myself with blood. Like I always do it every month, and I just made a post about it. And that was actually the post that created more upheaval. I think maybe most upheaval ever, because for me it was such an innocent act. That I'm celebrating my witchy, my forest, my wild nature, and I'm sharing this with you.
Life force.
Exactly, came from life force, creating a new life. If I'm not a creative baby, I am creating my own life. For me, it came from a place of innocence. And then lots of people actually wrote me stories, like horrible things.
Yeah.
And there, I realized, how can I just hold my truth? I know I am in integrity. And these people, I can just hold their pain body stories and say, it's okay. I can love you no matter what.
Exactly.
And that was a very big process, especially when you go online to speak about topics that are very triggering, as you say.
Yes. Yeah, and I want to acknowledge you for that, because if we are going to change a normative, if we're going to change the script where woman, man are abused, where the sexual shaming, the guilt,
Yeah.
the the circumcision, the female cutting,
Yeah.
everything that's going on into these areas, which in my opinion and what I'm uncovering is just deep rooted suppressed pain and emotion that can't be
Absolutely.
expressed, right? The deep longing for love from our parents, from our peers, from our lovers, unrequited love. It's like, and when we actually, if we want to see something different for the next generations that come after us, then we have to be courageous enough to speak up about this.
Absolutely.
And I really want to honor you in doing that, because you definitely stepped out there on your own. And I know now you're so thankful you did, because you stepped out courageously, spoke your truth, and now others have done the same. Not only that, you've received so much support from new friends and old friends and
Yes.
so on. So yeah. And do you want to share, maybe if you're allowed, only in terms of you don't name anybody, but is there any little story that you could share that's really sort of touched your heart in now how you've supported some women to really step into their power, or do you have like something that
I probably have many. I just
I
need
know
to
you
figure
have
out.
many, just which one might be aligned for this conversation?
Yeah, for example, recently I had a client. We worked together for 3 months, and she said she had done so many practices, so many courses, so many things, and nothing was creating the change that would last. And she said it feels like I'm just like doing spiritual shopping for years. And she was suffering a lot from body image issues, and that means that her body was just simply saying, come back to me, but that was the scariest place for her to go.
Right.
So not even speaking about sexuality. And during this time, she was so committed, and she went to like the darkest places of actually creating safety in the body first, allowing all of these thoughts to dissipate, right? The judgmental thoughts. And then through self-touch, through actual self-touch, which is like a rewired conscious touch, she managed to create not only deeper states of pleasure, but also she said that she liberated her wild woman, which is a very, very big deal in this society, because we women, we don't trust that we have a voice that's valid. We don't trust our gifts. We play small just to make others feel not so small or make them feel bigger. So her achievement was actually just through very simple things, like really, really simple things, because the truth is simple, you know that?
Right.
Just getting down to her body, into loving her breasts, going down to your yoni, releasing the trauma and shame, and then inviting pleasure when the space has been cleared. That was the path.
Beautiful.
And it's I call my coaching program the hero's journey into sexual awakening, just based on the hero's journey, right? We all have this quest. We're living our ordinary life, but some download happens. We know these feelings.
Right.
And then a messenger appears, a wizard or a coach, and say, you can do this. And then you go there, you meet your shadows, your monsters, your demons, your traumas. There's no other way. This is why sexuality is not for everyone. Maybe not at this time, maybe later.
Yeah.
Then we go through this like, sticky stuff. And then, like in a fairy tale, the prince would come back maybe with the bride or with the prize. And here a woman or a man can come back with an embodied self-acceptance. The tingles, as I say that, wired belief system, a life that's intentional and that's in tune with your sexuality, where you can tap into your creative energy, literally, and just like channel it to the life you want to create.
Exactly.
And then you have to come back home. You know, the hero's journey is a cycle. Come back home, and how do you integrate it so that you create a change that lasts?
And then share.
And then share.
Yeah.
To give permission to others, saying
Yes.
this is possible.
Right. And that sharing becomes just a byproduct from the experience, because like all of us, when we access that place of love, cohesion, balance, peacefulness, self-love, liberation, you only want to share it, right? What else would you do? It's like, okay, what else can I do right now? I just want to share this with the world, or I want to, share my story, share what's happened. And actually, the hero's journey, as you so beautifully described, any movie, as you know, some of my background's been in, the exploration of film. Any great movie that has touched the hearts of millions of people, you can name them in Lord of the Rings. It doesn't matter what they are, right? I know you've watched that
just now,
just recently, right? But like these movies are actually depicted on Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, and if the director and the writer do it well, they nail it. And the reason why they nail it, and it connects with so many people, is because we all know that hero's journey inside of us. We all know that yearning to step into our greatness, to follow the adventure, to go on this quest of life. Because what else are we here for? We're not here to be numb, dense, I call it living dead beings. Regardless of whether you believe in reincarnation or not, as this physical form, we don't know any other than this physical form. And even if we have some inclination of how many lives we've been in, and we're certain we're going to have more, we're still here now in this form. Why not have the most amazing adventure of all? It's like it's here to be lived. Life is saying to us all the time, come and play. I love this. You're going to love this. I know you've probably heard me say it before, but it's like life. Even if we look now, I want Eric to film a little bit of this, just so maybe we can, even in this cut, I can say, look what we're looking at, right? And this, look how life is playing with us.
Yeah.
It's colors, it's forms, everything. The dragonfly, the butterflies, everything's different. No one thing is the same. It's like, man, I trip on that daily. When I look at fruit, when I look everything, my hairs on my body, it's like, shit, right? Why would you want to play with that? And so, and then
this is sexual. This is erotic in action.
Thank you for contributing that.
Yes.
This is I often say it's like whatever it was, the Big Bang was a big fucking orgasm.
Yeah.
It was a big ejaculation, like, hey, shit! And everyone's like, God, man, look at this shit. It's a mystery. And actually, that leads us in beautifully, because I want to bring some celebration to the Yoni-verse, right? I'm just buzzing. This is just coming up now. Of when we realize that, and then we come into the Lingam-verse, the Yoni-verse, and we go, wow, this is the center of creation. This is where two poles come together and alchemize and then explode into the life, right? And we can, as you described earlier, we can use that life force regardless of whether we create another being, right? And then we can express ourselves as that mystery. And one thing I love whenever, with my partner at the moment, Dara, of course, but just the Yoni in general, whenever I see the Yoni, whether it be an image, artwork, or another being, I'm like, that is the mystery right there. I mean, I can look at anything to see the mystery, but that's the mystery, right? Yeah. And of course, I can look at my own sexual center and say that also is the mystery. But there's something about the Yoni-verse of that invitation to go inside and to dissolve and to die and to enter into union with another being. I mean, and again, I'm speaking I know I'm speaking sort of heteronormative here with man and woman and penetration, but just in general, that idea of whatever gender you're representing right now, that we can't deny that the yin, the yang, the two polarities, they come together, and through coming together, they dissolve into one. And that for me,
I love how you put it, Si.
yeah, that for me is like, I hope I haven't picked the microphone. Everybody's like, man, you got too crazy on that microphone.
And actually, on this note, like, I would love to comment. Often people ask me, so sex and sexuality, what's the difference? It's not exactly the same, because sex, in my opinion, is this physical intercourse between two people, three people, whatever you want it, right? For me, sexuality is exactly what you're referring to. For me, sexuality is this impulse. I don't find a better word than an impulse to evolve, to grow, and to expand, because the nature of the universe is to expand. It's that impulse to beautify the world, to speak the truth, to be the higher version of me, is to make love, is to create business, to adorn my environment, is this this orgasmic impulse to create and to grow and to evolve. And this is sexuality for me.
Yes, and that encompasses everything.
Exactly.
Everything is sexuality. And then we could even throw in there, as you're speaking, I'm seeing the God in your eyes, and I'm just like, and then we can go into it's all God, and people might be going, oh my God, it's gone all religious. But it's not even about religion at this point. We're talking about it's all just part of that beautiful expression of our divinity. And it's so funny, sexuality, divinity, you know, they have that same ring for me. And I love how you said it comes into everything, right? We're here to express our full expression.
Yeah.
That is what sexuality is, right?
And that
Yeah, please.
full expression means no censorship. And how does it look on every day?
Boom.
We can share maybe a story, both of us. So what does it mean to not censor ourselves, to not censor our desires? You know?
I love that. Yeah. Well, what's coming up for
Yeah.
me is just how we live.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I know we all walk around naked, right? Which for us is just the norm,
Yeah.
right? In fact, I got in last night, and if you heard me, I was like, I couldn't take these clothes off. I just need to be naked. Right? Really, I just felt so stiff.
Yeah.
When we went out, it got a bit hot, and I just stripped off, and I was like, oh, I could just walk around the
Yes.
house. And still, and this isn't a judgment on anyone, but still, that's just far out for people.
Totally.
I mean, I know you even have said a few times, like, well, the way we engage, and we think it's just normal because we've lived like this for so long, but the way we engage, like me and you we hug naked, we have contact with intimacy.
Yes.
It's so beautiful, but that is so scary for so many. So
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Anyway, that just popped up
Yeah,
to me.
totally.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
so like, and I love what you said. I think that what you just brought in, it reminded me of a talk actually I listened this morning after meditation by what's his name? I can't remember his name, but it was a talk about speaking truth. You know, that's one of my passions. And and so I love what you just said. No censorship. Like, you know, maybe we can talk a little bit on that as we sort of slowly come in. I know we're coming to a close soon, but I love like this idea of no censorship, because in our experience of being transparent communicators, of really showing up and expressing ourselves, I know some people can think that speaking truth is brutal, and we're just, you know,
It doesn't mean purging my toxic shit onto you.
exactly.
No.
Yeah. So should we just bring that in? Because people might think, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to speak my truth and I'll be uncensored and just say, you're an asshole, and you know, and it's not about that, is it? This is about what you spoke about earlier. The embodiment of your truth allows you to be I got tingles. Allows you to be uncensored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to?
One little example, because I love staying practical, because all of these things could mean very specific things to us, but maybe not necessarily to other people.
Exactly.
So, for example, I think it was a few weeks ago, I woke up, I was doing things, nothing was flowing. I felt like my flow has been cut. I don't know what happened, but I just cannot create from the space. And, you know, both of us are very specific. We create only from joy, not from frustration.
Right.
It's like, I don't know what to do. I wanted to push through, but I couldn't. So allowing my full expression that moment meant I'm going to go into my frustration, my stagnation, and see what's there. So just ask everyone, guys, can I have my own room? No disturbance. I said to you, I may scream. Hope that's okay. Hopefully you're not filming videos right now. So I just go into my cave and I create a bubble, a safety bubble, where I say, Aurika, whatever is there, come out fully. I can hold you.
Sweet.
And then I scream, I dance, I shake, I say pleasure, whatever wants to come through. I do my Kali face, which I can show you. It's like,
You put lipstick all on your chin.
Thank you. That's Kali. She's ugly. She's
Yes,
destructive. She's
exactly.
uncensored.
I shouldn't even rub that. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. Boom.
Yeah. So after I make all of this mess to come out through me, I leave my room and I empty again.
Right. Yes.
Had I not allowed this, I would have spread the seeds of frustration to the world through my work.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you go into the day, it's sticky, whatever.
Yes.
Next thing happens, you get triggered by this, that, and the other.
Yes.
But rather than taking full responsibility of what's going on inside,
Yeah.
to put ourselves in that neutrality, that state of peace and love and acceptance of like, okay, I like the word you used. Actually, it's an emptiness. It's like, okay, I feel back here, I'm empty. Because empty, sometimes people think is a state of
Numb.
of nothing, like nothing's going on there. But actually, the emptiness is like, now I'm a sort of open vessel. And now from here, I can allow creation to come through me.
Yeah.
I love that saying of Eckhart Tolle, you know, it's like when we can create from being, you know, as opposed to like creating from doing. And I know you and I speak about this a lot. And, you know, I get caught up in the doing. And I know me and you are very active and want to get stuff done. And we have lists. Yours are slightly more creative than mine. And yours look more prettier than mine.
You
I
just have a lot of
I just
papers
have too many
flying around the
papers.
house.
And then Aurika comes up to me and says, by the way, you can have a fresh new bit of paper if you want. And
I'm
then,
gonna buy you a notebook.
and then she brought me a notebook the other day. The notebook was so beautiful. And I was like, In fact, Aurika always buys me beautiful gifts at the perfect moment. You do, really. I feel so enriched by this conversation. Just reminding me of the beautiful sarong that you brought me recently as a celebration of my book being put into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other day you come home with a notepad. And it was so sweet. Yeah, but again, just coming back to the point here is around really taking full responsibility of ourselves. That's what I'm hearing you say, whatever that needs. And then from that place showing up. And then from there, we're allowing ourselves just to be the frequency of non-censorship. You see?
Exactly.
Because like you just said, if I go into my Kali, everything's allowed. In that moment, I'm allowing non-censorship. So it's not about spitting it on somebody else. It's about taking full responsibility of that within ourselves.
Yeah.
And that feels super enriching.
And this is something we have to bring also into our friendships, families, and romantic relationships. And this, of course, for me, the romantic relationship part, and actually the family part, is a bit more challenging. Right now, I'm working a lot on my romantic relating skills, and what does it look like? So I think both of us, we have this inclusivity and transparency when it comes to feeling an attraction towards someone else who's not in a relationship. Right. You and Darren made this amazing video about attractions. I watched it more than one time, I admit, because this is so bloody complicated. What do you do? I am committed to my partnership, and if I feel an attraction towards someone else, is this allowed? Right. Do I have to censor that part as something as dirty? Does it make me a bad woman? You know?
Yes.
Like, well, this is where the real courage comes in.
Yes.
Can I own that part of me and say to my beloved, this is also sacred, and I'm going to sit with it and see what's there.
Exactly.
That's the full expression.
Wow, I love that. And as you're talking, I'm like, we could do a whole conversation.
Oh, love that.
Huh? I would really love that.
That's very needed.
Yeah, I think it's very needed. And as you know, I keep banging on about the book I'm reading at the moment, but I keep telling you the book. But, I'm reading this book, and they talk about that so beautifully. And the book, for anybody listening, is called And They Knew Each Other, by the founders of the Tamira Project, the community, very well famous community in Portugal. And they just talk about what you said. I'm not going to repeat it all, but this sense of solidarity, full trust, inclusivity, of course, and they really speak about when we can create that community environment with ourselves, with our lovers, with our friends, and so on, then literally the love without fear can exist. The love without jealousy can exist. Where if I hold myself back in any way, whatever I'm bringing to the dynamic, whether it's my partnership, family, I'm bringing a fragment of myself. Exactly. You know, whereas if I can't step in and own all that's going on inside of me, then they say something lovely is around, you know, true faithfulness has to include, faithfulness has to include being able to love others. Because love is, it's all encompassing. It's not just like, oh, all my love is just for Aurika right now, because I love Eric, you know, he's like one of my beautiful brothers. We call each other lover, you know. It's like if I contain that from Eric, I'm containing some from you or from
Yes.
Dara or from anywhere
Yeah.
else, and
Yeah.
that's not love. Love wouldn't actually do it. Can't do that.
No.
So so there's a whole topic there for us to dive
Absolutely.
into. Okay, so I know we're gonna let's take a
Oh,
breath.
exciting.
It's been a fun conversation, huh?
We live together 24/7 and we still have things to talk about.
Yes, and new
Infinitely,
things.
new things.
New things. You've
Yeah.
really taught me some stuff today, and I think I'd like to finish with you, of course, and what would be what's alive in you, just feeling into everything that we shared, just as a bringing this to a close. Maybe that you'd like to share a message to anybody listening, maybe a little, a little tip, a guide, whatever, anything. It can be absolutely anything, just to
Yeah.
round this up, whatever feels true in your body.
Interesting thing came up, so I just stressed that, is loving our inner children.
Nice.
It's just, my inner girl, she's called Anna. I invite all of you who are watching, just take some time to tune in. What's the name for your inner child? Because that's the part that usually creates a lot of sadness and pain. That's the part that has been least held, least loved, and firstly by ourselves. So sometimes I feel very unsafe, I feel insecure, or I feel very sad and want to be held. And to take full ownership of my own life, I can offer this to myself. It's like, hey, Aurika, I just hold myself and love myself. Say, it's okay, you're worth, you're loved, and so on. And each inner child will need to hear a different message. So what would your inner child would love to hear?
Beautiful. I can tell you well. And also I'm really curious that you gave yours another name. That's something I haven't heard before.
I have a whole connection to her. We have days, we have play dates. When I come to my partner, see, right now it's not Aurika, it's Anna. She wants a different kind of love.
Right, beautiful. So and it's a beautiful way of maybe for some people to connect, because I've found when I do inner child work, it's hard for sometimes them to connect to that part of themselves. But maybe bringing in a name or even a different energy for that person could be very helpful. I mean, what my inner child, it was what popping up now, but I guess on some level always says this is don't be so hard on yourself. That's really what a message that my inner child, and even now, is don't be so hard on yourself. You're already enough, and we're having a great time. That always pops up. I've done it. I gladly, and I can always be there, but I've gladly done a lot of work on really allowing that inner child to be loved and cared for. And of course, bringing up as well, I'm glad you asked me the question. One of the things that I think you know this, but I'm going to bring it for people listening, is that my inner child often didn't get held by his mother. So what I actually often need, or what my inner child often needs, and actually me too, because I love it.
Yes, it boobs.
It's to lay in the breast. Yes, to lay in the breast of the boobies and to be held. And we spoke about this the other night. I remember briefly, where also that's sometimes from a sort of really mothering energy of the woman as well, who can really hold me. And this happened to me in an event that me and Dara were holding, and this woman couldn't speak English. In fact, we did the exercise and she spoke in German. And it was amazing because I just had to feel her as opposed to hear what she said. And I spoke in English because she just really wanted to speak in her mother tongue, and we got together. And in the end, she was able to pull me in and hold me. And it was so nourishing that I felt so small. And if Dara even walked past, because she was holding the space at that time, and she said, like, I just looked like whatever, 5-year-old or whatever, embraced in this woman. And it was so nourishing. I cannot tell you. And the funny thing is in that vulnerability that felt very small, very vulnerable, afterwards there was such a sense of like, there was such a strength that arose from just being held in that way. So my inner child definitely would be wanting that.
So beautiful.
Yeah, more often.
Imagine if all men got to give themselves the permission to actually be held as little boys.
Yeah.
Oh, how healing is that?
Yes, really.
And does your inner boy have a name? Because Anna likes to have play friends.
Yeah. I'm going to think about that. Yes. Turning... No, I mean, the only funny thing is Atom. I'm just going to say Atom. No, because Atom's my alter ego. No, but I'm going to think about that if there's a fun name for him.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
We can send. I have friends with whom I send audio messages from Anna to her inner child. It's like, hey, how's she doing today? Let's play.
We got a whole new inner child family growing. Like, we have new WhatsApp groups just around the children. Hey, I just want to play today. Take me out. I want to eat chocolate. Amazing. Cool. Woo. That was cool. Thank you so much.
I love your eyes after going through a transformation where we're back to love. Your eyes just shift so much.
Yes, exactly. And we've been on a beautiful journey and we softened throughout. You know, we've made love in this conversation. It feels so beautiful and connected in love. And I feel so much softer, seen, acknowledged, heard. You've opened me up. We've had so much fun, lightness. And that, you know, that's the power of a true conversation. And that's why I feel that speaking our truth in conversation is such a transformative tool that we all possess. You know, if we can get together with people we know and love and listen and express our truth. Oh, don't get me going. I'm just
one more topic.
No, what was it? No, but you know, one thing I'm going to leave with everyone today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for tuning in. But we have a sharing practice, a communication practice where we practice this. We close our eyes, we sit in circle, and we really share what's going on inside of us. And you know, I'll do another talk on that and maybe share that practice more and more. But wherever you are in the world, anyone watching today, thank you. Speak your truth. I hope what Aurika's brought to the table today has inspired you in some way. Let us know. As always, under the videos, you can find where Aurika is, explore her more. And just thank you as always to Eric on this little journey with me right now. Thank you so much. And I feel, tingled up, nourished. We get our little hug.
Hey, I'll give a lipstick kiss.
Lipstick kiss.
Love you so much.
Boom.
Thank you.
This is our time to rise.